We also had to CGI out Henry Cavill's stupid moustache that he was using in the Mission Impossible movies because we had to come back and do so many reshoots. Never say never in this crazy thing called life. The Snyder Cut for the Justice League is a real thing. It's coming to HBO Max probably in 2021. HBO Max is the streaming service that HBO is going to launch because, of course, in the modern day, if you are some kind of content provider and you don't have a streaming service, someone will just come around your house and shoot you in the face. That's the law. You know, WWE, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Disney, Paramount. There's another one coming out soon, I think, for the US ABC, whatever it is. It's nuts. It's crazy. And I guess to try and get everybody excited about HBO Max, they heard everyone on Twitter and social media going nuts about the Justice League Snyder Cut. We need the Justice League Snyder Cut, which I just find baffling, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. Now, there's a load of information I just want to chat about anyway. And I was like, Simon, you've got a YouTube channel. You can do it there. My first thing, and I want people in the comments to let me know, do we want this? Like, is this what we want? Have you seen the Justice League? Now, I don't actually think the Justice League was as bad as a lot of people made out. I think you can see the issues it had in production, and I still think when it comes to DC movies, they're just way too much on the side of, and I like dark, sort of evil intent movies, right? The Dark Knight trilogy, if we take that, the Christopher Nolan one, got that balance kind of perfectly. But with the Justice League movie and with Batman vs Superman, it just seemed like DC went to Marvel. They kind of like taking comic books and put it on the screen. We'll go the other way and we're going to be all serious and realistic. It was just so grey and it was so dark. There was still something to take away with it. I mean, if you look at a film like Wonder Woman, I think the Wonder Woman movies are the DC's best output to date in terms of movies. There's always something you can take away from it because it is the Justice League. And if you're like me and you're a massive nerd and you've been reading it since you were a kid and you love Batman, I think Batman's the greatest thing ever, even to see Batman on the screen is enough. And I didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman. That's just my personal choice. I know a lot of people did. Maybe I'm biased towards Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. I think they're the best ones. But moving all that aside, it must be so hard to retroactively go back and try and make this work. Like, everybody says that. Like, I'm well into music, right? Got a band, MG the Juggernaut, metal. It's all about the recording you put down. There's only so many bells and whistles and things you can do in production. If your structure, screw music, it's like a house. If I show you around a house and it's lovely and pretty and like, oh, it's so good, and then you learn that the foundations have a hole in it, you'd be like, I can't live in this house because it's going to collapse. And I kind of worry that's what's going to happen with this. But it's clearly a massive project. It's not just a hoo-hoo-ha-ha thing. It's going to cost around $20 to $30 million. So, you know, that's a big chunk of change considering you can make movies for that amount. For a lot less, you can make a movie. And we're going to add a lot to it. That's the thing. We're going to add a lot to it. And because it's coming to a streaming service, and again, you want people to binge, there are these rumors that it may even be episodic. Now, I presume that would be, let's say it's a 2-hour movie, you just chop it up into 30 minutes chunks and release it over 4 weeks. Do I want to see it like that? I don't know. Would it kind of work? Because I guess I know the story. I don't know. And again, it is going to, for example, Steppenwolf. You remember what Steppenwolf, the main villain, was like in Justice League? He absolutely sucked. It's like he came out of a Care Bears cartoon. He wasn't threatening at all. He was way too CGI'd. Rumor has it that was not what Zack Snyder wanted, and we're going to see what he wanted in the Zack Snyder Cut. That stands to reason. So I guess if you get to the end of episode 1, if they do it this way, and they tease it massively, then yeah, I probably will watch episode 2 because I'll be intrigued. I'd watch it anyway. I'm a massive nerd. I don't know. There's just a big question mark over this, but it has got me intrigued. And there's more to this as well because they have got all the original cast back. So Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot, I always get it wrong and people go mad, and everybody else. And they are recording additional dialogue for the movie, which again kind of suggests is going to head in a different direction. But what that direction is, I don't know. And let's not forget when Justice League came out originally, we also had to CGI out Henry Cavill's stupid moustache that he was using in the Mission Impossible movies because we had to come back and do so many reshoots. It just feels like a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It feels like we've got a bunch of ingredients and thrown it in a pot and we stirred it once a couple of years ago and now it's finally bubbled up and we're stirring more stuff back into it. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Because we're going to go in further with the characters too. That's the big thing. It's going to be about character depth. It's going to be about character depth and you're going to learn more about these people. And yeah, I'm all about that. Again, when you look at the Marvel movies, especially the Avengers, I think one of the reasons they work so well is that you really get a feel for who Tony Stark is. And then what happens, and you feel bad. And I think we tried to do that, especially with Bruce Wayne, but we kind of missed it. So I think that there is worth in this. And I think that I just don't know what the end product's going to be. Like, is it going to be the same movie as I watched before? Are we just going to transform it? Is it going to be a bit like when you watch a director's cut and you sit down and go, okay, there's a scene I wasn't expecting, but outside of that, there's not much else? It's fascinating, and it goes to show how much power you have nowadays on social media. Junkie XL will also be happy. He was brought in to do the soundtrack originally. I think he worked on Dark Knight Rises too, and maybe some other of the Batman films. And then when Joss Whedon got brought in to tidy everything up, when Zack Snyder went to sort out some terrible things, he brought in Danny Elfman, who of course wrote the original Batman score for the Michael Keaton and Tim Burton movies. One of the best themes ever done in the history of mankind. But even that brought a more... I mean, Joss Whedon's quite... he did the first Avengers film too. And he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say with that. It's just... I just can't get my head around it. The more I read about it, the more I'm just absolutely baffled that this is even a thing. And there's more here too, because you remember in Batman versus Superman, there were all these hints that Darkseid is coming. And then you get to the Justice League movie and he's just nowhere to be seen. It's like you lost your keys in your house. You're like, I just can't find them. And then you start to think you're going nuts. That wasn't, again, I use the word apparently a lot, but that apparently wasn't meant to happen, and Darkseid was meant to have a much bigger part in this, and Zack Snyder is going to bring that back too, and there's scenes with Superman that are going to be reintroduced to make his narrative make sense, because it made absolutely no sense in Justice League. It's just the strangest portrayal ever, and then you'll learn more about new, like I said, the character depth stuff, so you'll learn more about the Flash. You're also going to see the Green Lantern, or something to that effect. Lex Luthor's going to have more scenes, and you probably need to do that, because again, just absolutely crazy. And on top of that, they say they have enough stuff, footage, whatever, to utterly change the third act of that film. You tell me. There's a comment section below. There's a lot going on here. My worry is that we raise fans' expectations too much, and then when you get it, you realize we're kind of in the same ballpark as we were before, just based on the things that I've already said. The foundations, the structure is still going to be with the 2017, 16, 18, whenever the hell that movie came out. I will say I went to see that movie 3 times in the cinema, which absolutely makes me the problem. But I just think sometimes you go back to see things that you're super passionate about, and, multiple viewings will give you a different perspective. But I think by the third one, I was like, no, I just can't. I just can't see this, even though I'll go watch this as well. Because again, I'm just that kind of guy. It's the same with the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, I remember Dark Knight Rises got somewhat of a tonking by some people. I absolutely loved it just because I think it just tied into everything else that was going on. And I thought Tom Hardy's version of Bane was... Who came up with that? And that voice, like, oh, Batman. It's like, you duck. Why are you talking like that? But there's so many cool lines, like standing on ceremony, Mr. Wayne, which I still use today all the time.
Really? And why are you people here?
Talking of Bane as well... Just type in Bane mask and then global pandemic, but use the actual word, onto Google. People are selling out of Bane masks all across the internet because the human race has finally understood what they need to do to be cool, and that's what they're using to protect themselves when they're walking out in the world. Bane masks. So I need to get on that, but don't get the plastic ones. I need a cotton one or whatever the hell it's going to be. But yeah, like those 3 movies, at least they all made sense, right? I hate the ending to Dark Knight Rises when Hollywood producers went, oh yeah, and then we'll cut and we'll see Catwoman and Batman. No, just have it on Alfred smiling and let me make the decision. And that's what Christopher Nolan wanted to do, because it's exactly what he did with Inception, with the totem that Leonardo DiCaprio spins. You don't know if it falls and you don't know if it stays up. But I don't know, I guess because it's Batman, we have to just play to the common denominator, which always drives me nuts. But ultimately, look, if we go with what Zack Snyder has said, getting back on topic, he promises it will feel completely different to the movie that we saw a couple of years ago. I hope that he's right. Either way, we've got a long-ass time to wait because we're only in May 2020. I don't know when HBO Max launches, but I don't think it's going to be in January, February, probably May, March, April, May, that kind of time, spring. So yeah, get thinking, get hoping. Hopefully that means they're actually taking it or undertaking it on as a big project. They're not rushing it. Kind of terrified, kind of excited, but look, right now it's something I was able to dive into and learn more about. The Snyder Cut, coming 2021. And that's it. That's all I've got to say about that. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you want it? Do you not want it? Do you think it's just going to be garbage? Anything goes, and I'll try and read as many as I can. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification, put the bell on if you haven't done it already. The new analytics in Google Studio or YouTube Studio just tells me no one's hitting your bell. I'm like, what do you want me to do? It's not even a sentence, and I make no money on YouTube yet. Patreon.com/SimonMiller316 if you do want to support, and you can come follow me on social media at SimonMiller316 on Twitter, Instagram. It's all in the description below. If you're bored and you haven't had enough of me after, 10 minutes, however long this is, just go in the description, click some links. I'll see you soon.